Hi there, I'm Ken and welcome to Open and Shut. Thank you for joining me for my first book review on this channel. So the book I want to talk to you about today is called The Night Watch. It's the first in a series of books by Sergei Lukyanenko, and he's Russian and I'm not, so I apologize that I butchered the heck out of his name. They're very interesting books. You've got The Night Watch, Day Watch, Twilight Watch, Final Watch, and New Watch, and Sixth Watch. And they just get better as they go along. They're very cool. So basically the world in this series of books is about this society of superhumans, we'll call them, that aren't really human anymore, called others. You have light others and dark others. And they get their magical abilities, their power, from something called the twilight, and you enter the twilight by stepping into your shadow. Doing that initiates you into the world and the powers of the others. I think that's a really cool concept, first of all, stepping into another level, plane of reality through your own shadow. I think that's really fun. I enjoy the thought of that. So you have the human world, you have the others, you have the twilight. As the story opens, the main character, whose name is Anton, is fairly new to being an other. He's only been an other for about 7 years when the book starts. So let's go through the list of characters that you're going to need to pay attention to. You've got your protagonist, Anton Gorodetsky. He's around 35 to 40 years of age. It's never made absolutely clear what his age is. He is an IT specialist / computer programmer kind of guy. His classification is a male other, and his designation is a level 3 magician. So real quick, in the world of the others, dark versus light, you have different powers according to whether you're a light other, good guy, dark other, bad guy. Within the society of others, if you're a magician, either a light magician or a dark magician, there is a power scale there. So if you're a level 1 magician, you're really powerful. If you're a level 7 magician, you can do more magic than a human being, but not by a whole lot. So you're not very powerful at all. So Anton is a level 3 magician. So he's not the weakest of the weak, and he's not the most uber powerful. Then you have Boris Ignatyevich. He's the leader of the Night Watch. He is the master manipulator, okay? He has his fingers in all the pies. He's pulling all the strings of all the characters. Plans within plans is a phrase that I first ran across in the Dune series by Frank Herbert, but it applies very well to the machinations that go on in this book series as well. And Boris, he is the master manipulator. We don't know his age. We know that he is a male other and that he is, quote, beyond classification. So you've got that 1 to 7 scale, right? He's even more powerful than a level 1 magician. He is beyond classification. He can do things that no other can even dream about. Moving on, you have Svetlana Nazarova. She's a human doctor, 30 to 35. And she does play a pivotal role, but I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is because I want this to be a spoiler-free review. But she's important, so you want to pay attention. And then last, but certainly not least of the main characters, is Zabulon. He's the leader of the Day Watch. The Day Watch is the organization of dark others. He is a grand dark mage, so not quite as powerful as Boris. So Zabulon, leader of the Day Watch, we're not sure of his age either, but he's had this rivalry going on with Boris for a long time. So I figure they're probably close to the same age. So as the book opens, Anton has only been an other for about 7 years, so he still reacts to and relates to things as a human being would, whereas some of the people who have been others, whether they're dark or light others, for longer, no longer relate to humans in the same way, because how could you? If you can live for hundreds, if not thousands of years, it's hard to relate to the problems of human beings. When you become an other, you have certain advantages. If you join the Day Watch or the Night Watch, if you become a light other or a dark other, you're taken care of. You have a salary, but money is never really an object for you. You can always get money. So you really don't worry about bills. You don't age anymore. I mean, not really. You don't die from illness. You don't get sick. You don't have to stand in line for things because you can manipulate people's minds, although there are consequences to doing that. So there's a lot of advantages to becoming an other, and the longer you live as an other, the harder it becomes to relate to being human, which is why Anton is the perfect protagonist for the story, because he is the reader. He is you reading this book, and he's the perfect way to bring you into this world. So Anton had carved out this niche as a computer programmer and IT support person for the Night Watch. That's the organization of good guys. But at the beginning of the book, you find that he's been promoted, quote unquote, to being a field agent. So he's out patrolling the city streets of Moscow looking for dark others who are up to no good. And he's not very happy about that. He was just fine being the computer guy. So he's patrolling the city. He's on the lookout for a particular person that he's supposed to be following. And as he's on the train, he notices this girl. And he sees that this girl on the train has a black vortex above her head. A black vortex is actually a fairly ordinary phenomenon. If I looked closely, I could make out another 5 or 6 of them hanging above other passengers' heads. But they were all blurred and pale, barely even spinning, the results of perfectly ordinary, non-professional curses. Someone yelling after someone else, "I hope you die, you bastard." Or someone else who would put it even more simply and forcefully, "Go to hell, will you?" And a little black whirlwind had moved across from the dark side, draining good fortune and sucking in energy. But an ordinary, amateurish, formless curse lasts no more than an hour or two, 24 hours at most. And its consequences may be unpleasant, but they're not fatal. That black twister hanging over the girl was the genuine article, stabilized and set in motion by an experienced magician. The girl didn't know it yet, but she was already dead. And so, as I mentioned, he's only been an other for a few years, so he still feels and emotes and reacts as a human being. So he feels very bad for this girl, and he helps her. And it's the consequences that stem from that form the rest of the conflict for the book. Good. The pacing on this book is very well done. I never had the feeling that I had to skim through. You know how some authors like Stephen R. Donaldson and Stephen King will go and take 3 pages to describe how green a pasture is? That kind of thing drives me crazy. There's none of that in here that I found. The descriptions are all very succinct. And that's it. I will go ahead and leave you with that. One more thing though, when I'm picturing characters in my brain, usually my brain will base them on other characters from literature or fiction or TV or whatever, right? For me, Anton, the part of Anton in my brain was always played by Nico Bellic from Grand Theft Auto 4. I would picture a real-life version of that character, and that's the voice that I hear in my head for his dialogue. For the part of Boris, if I was casting this, I would cast the actor Christoph Waltz, who is the Bond villain, Spectre, I think, and who you probably have also seen in *Inglourious Bastards* and many other films. And for the part of Zebulon, Loki himself, Tom Hiddleston, perfect for the part of Zebulon, I think. Yeah. And I I read all these books and then I went back and read them all through again 6 months later. And it really does feel like you're just coming back and visiting old friends when you pick these back up again. So I hope that's enough information for you to make a decision as to whether or not you want to read this book now. If you liked this video, please hit that thumbs up button, as it really does help out my channel. If you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe and then click on that little bell icon so that you're notified every time I make a new post. The YouTube adpocalypse is a very real thing. Videos get demonetized for the stupidest reasons anymore, and since books can contain bad language or adult themes, I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket. If you want to help support me making videos like this financially, then I would encourage you to go ahead and click on my Patreon link down below and just make a $1 a month pledge. If you want to reach out to me, I'll post all my social media links down below as well, and links to the various versions of this particular book. I hope you will join me again for my next review. Until then, I'm Ken. You take care.